Lately, I've noticed a trend. More and more people are leaving the Netherlands. In my 10 years of living here, I've never noticed so many people move out. So the obvious question is, what's going on? Based on my own experience, my coaching practice, what I hear people share online, and conversations with my friends, I've identified 10 major reasons why many people no longer see the Netherlands as their future home. Number 1. Healthcare. This one is emotional and controversial. Here is what I mean. Expats often come from countries with less developed healthcare system, so when they come to the Netherlands, they expect a huge upgrade, but often they end up feeling disappointed. Beyond that, the Dutch healthcare system is built around efficiency, not necessarily patient care. GPs in this system are gatekeepers, and they often send people home without proper checks. They just tell you, wait it out. But often, it's not possible to wait it out because people have other commitments, like most of us have jobs, some of us have kids, people have, plans. So it's just simply not possible to wait it out. Another big one that it just makes me so angry and so mad that early signs of serious diseases are being missed. Because when a person comes to see a GP and has some minor complaints and being told, wait it out, it's not as serious, you're making it up, they are waiting it out, and in the meantime, this serious disease might be developing. I'm saying this because I received a lot of messages. I'll put these messages on the screen. Please pause this video and read them. They are heartbreaking messages and just makes me just very sad. And all of that while we have expensive healthcare insurances. Most of us pay somewhere in between 1,500 a year to 1,800 a year. And for this amount, we only get GP visits and accidental coverage. If you want to understand the Dutch healthcare system in detail, I have a whole video explaining that, like how it works and how you can save up. I will leave the video somewhere in here so you can check it out. Number 2, housing market. Yes, housing market crisis has been talked about endlessly, so I won't bore you with the basics. I have a separate video where I talk about housing market in particular and give you useful tips on how to find an apartment or a house in the Netherlands. You can check it out here. For now, let me just say this. The price-value ratio is completely off. For example, in my view, and everything that I'm sharing in this video is just my view, 250,000 euros is a lot of money. I'll show you some pictures what you can buy for this money in Eindhoven. We see a cramped attic with barely usable space. Or look at the planning of this apartment. I would think that for 250k you would get at least a corridor and not just enter the apartment and immediately get in the living space / kitchen. Or there is this sink in the living space, which is just like, what's going on here? I'm saying all this and a part of me inside is tensing up because I don't want you to think that I'm spoiled. But if you think so, it's your right to think this way. But let's together reflect about it briefly. The market conditions make us believe that all these pictures that I've showed right now, this is the norm. And it's normal somehow to pay 250,000 euros for this. And other normal things like having a corridor when you enter your apartment to like hang your clothes and not having your coats smell like garlic when you're cooking. This is somehow labeled and perceived as luxury. But this is not the luxury. These are just normal human conditions. People just want to live comfortably. And when I see these images and when I look at what's available in the market in the Netherlands, it makes me sad. I am open to hearing your perspective and your opinion. What do you think? Do you think that these images that I've showed you are some sort of like normal apartments and it's fair that they cost at least 250? And please take a note that it's 250,000 on Funda, but in the Netherlands we also bid. So these will be plus at least 10%. Is it fair to say that it's at least plus 10%? Let me know. Let me know what you think. I'm really curious to learn from you guys as well. Number 3, cost of living. Things in the Netherlands are often unjustifiably expensive. You pay a lot and the price often doesn't match the quality that you're getting. To give you a couple of examples, earlier the prices price for the apartments. I think it's one of the biggest examples here. Another one is restaurants. For example, we are now at the matcha place. So do you think that the prices here are justifiable?
Me personally, I don't think prices are justifiable. You shouldn't be paying €6 for one drink.
Alright, so we got a matcha and paid €6 for that. But we like matcha and it's okay to pay €6 for matcha. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's expensive, but like...
Do you feel like the price-value ratio is off here or...
Yeah. I always feel like the price-value ratio is off in the Netherlands. I mean, like it's good matcha is the best one, but like still...
In Eindhoven.
Indeed. But somehow like it leaves this bitter feeling of like...
So we concluded that even for a good matcha, €6 feels a bit like too much. And that's the general feeling in the Netherlands, that everything is just a little bit too expensive. So people naturally start comparing and find countries where the price-value ratio is a bit more justifiable. And these countries are often not even their home countries. So they just choose to move elsewhere. So what are the examples then?
For example, we have a car and you're paying road tax, you're paying parking, you're paying insurance. And of course, like everywhere you pay the same things, but here it's much more expensive.
What else?
I think just paying apartments is the biggest thing here. You can live comfortably, but if you don't rent a super expensive apartment. But most of the apartments are super expensive and you're not getting like a lot of value.
We're pet sitting a cat of a French guy from Nice, and he told us that in Nice, for the same apartment that he's renting here, so here he's paying 1,400 unfurnished plus water, and in Nice he would get the same apartment for like 800. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, I would say so.
Anything else you'd like to share with us?
Problem is like not the price. Like if it's a high price, but you're getting a 30 square meter studio without any room, like everything is just one thing, and you feel like you're living in a factory that now became like a place expats are renting. And like if you get 30% or 40% out of your salary for just a place, then it becomes super expensive to live and do anything else. And then like of course any luxury that you're having, if it's like a car or if you want to eat out, it becomes more and more expensive, of course.
I remembered something. Thank you. A few years ago, I was offered to buy an apartment in Strijpaas. The price of the apartment was €250,000. And to be fair, Strijpaas is an up-and-coming area. It's a really nice area in Eindhoven. But the apartment was a disaster. There was a tiny place, like the Philips factory building got renovated, and in the middle of the apartment there was a wooden box toilet. It literally felt like an ex-Soviet Union outside toilet was placed in the middle of the apartment. Really strange, and the price was insane. That's what I mean when I say that the price-value ratio is just unjustifiable. This whole should I stay or leave question is our very first theme inside my brand new private community that I'm launching just in a few weeks. I've myself been grappling with this question and want to share with you my honest reflections in a way that I will never be able to do on such platforms like YouTube or Instagram. Each month we will explore a different topic to help you build life you're genuinely excited about. You will get to meet deep, authentic people and get clarity on the questions that keep you up at night. As I said, the topic for the first month will be, should I stay or should I leave? And it's not only about the Netherlands, it's going to be applicable to any country you live in. We will be diving deep into that through certain frameworks, discussions, videos, breathworks, and some secret tools that I've prepared for you. The first people on the list will get the founding member offer, and honestly, if we traded places, I'd be thrilled to receive such an offer. As a welcome gift upon signing up, you will instantly get my Wheel of Life Abroad tool. It visually shows you which parts of your life are working and which need some love. And not only that, I've included in there a secret tool that will help you measure your current life against your values, so you will immediately start getting the answers to your question whether you should stay or leave. You can get it and sign up to the early waitlist through the link in the video description below. Just to be transparent, by signing up, you are not obliged to join the community later. You just basically show me your intention that you might be interested, so you will get notified when the community launches, and if by that time you change your mind, I promise you I won't get offended. Alright, check out the link in the video description below and let's get back to the video. Number 4, childcare and raising a family. If you want to settle here and have kids, childcare becomes one of the biggest struggles that most parents face. Just one day a week at daycare costs 500 euros a month, and most parents need more than that. So a significant portion of one parent's salary will go to childcare. On top of that, many mothers say that it's very difficult for them to leave a very small, like a 4-month-old baby at daycare. If they had a choice, maybe they would stay home a bit longer, but they simply don't have a choice because in the Netherlands, the maternity leave is around 16 weeks, and one parent's income is simply not enough to support a family. And it doesn't stop here. Once your child starts school at the age of 4, many parents say that they feel restricted. I know someone who shared a story that a close family member passed away and they asked if they can take their child with them to the funeral, and the school said no, so they had to do a lot of convincing that, hey, it's just a one-time thing, it's not something that we're planning to do every year, and it's like, it's a big thing. I mean, someone passed away. And then school agreed, but said, yeah, you're allowed to do that, but only for, let's say 2 days. And then they had to explain that the flights to their country, they are quite long, so just 2 days is not possible. It's not like going to Belgium or to Germany. So there was this whole negotiation, and basically parents have a feeling like their child doesn't belong to them, but it belongs to the system. So in the end, many parents just don't see how they can realistically raise a family here in the Netherlands. Number 5, cultural fit. There are a few major things that typically make it hard for expats to fit in. The first one that comes to mind is how rigid life can feel here. To meet a Dutch person, you need to book an appointment a few months in advance, and this concept, this notion carries over to how institutions work here as well. We often hear a phrase, "it's not possible," and many expats struggle to understand why some simple things that seemingly would not cost anyone any trouble are not possible. I gave this example online that I was in a restaurant, in an empty restaurant, and I got seated next to the door. Well, at some point I got called and I asked if we can move further from the door. We were happy to accommodate the move ourselves, to move our things ourselves, to do everything ourselves. We just wanted to move. And the staff said that it was not possible. We asked why, but the answer was still, it's just not possible. We just can't do that. When I shared this story online, the Dutch lashed out on me because, yeah, don't you understand that probably they booked you and they took the order under the table 13 and now they would have to change the order to the table, 36, and in the system maybe it was not possible to do that. I completely get it, I understand it, but it also shows that it's not only the mindset, but it's also the way the systems are built, that it doesn't allow any space for flexibility. I personally appreciate direct people. I like when people are direct and clear in what they're saying. But I do think that there is a big difference between someone being direct and someone being rude. And I do notice that some Dutch people sometimes cover their lack of manners and their rudeness as directness. That's basically what's going on in my opinion. Funny enough, when I was preparing for this video, I received a comment that I want to share with you because I think it's very telling. So there is this video, I will link it here. I'm talking in this video about Dutch healthcare and I'm sharing my opinion, and everywhere I'm leaving disclaimers that this is my opinion and my opinion only. This Dutch person leaves a comment saying that basically in his opinion I go to the doctor for anything minor and hence I should be treated as a mental health patient because his comment suggests that I'm making things up. And he also argues that I should go to the doctor every 5 to 15 years. He also says that it's in line with preventive healthcare system that the Netherlands has. That's an interesting approach. And he concludes acknowledging that I know I might sound rude to you, but hey, at least we don't beat around the bush. I'll pause right here. I don't think it needs any other commentary on my end. I will let you draw your own conclusions whether it's rude or direct. Next, Difficulty integrating with locals. There are some countries where this line between locals and expats are not as strict. For example, in my opinion, it's France, Germany. But in the Netherlands, it's really just like that. Locals hang out with locals, expats hang out with expats. So why is that? A lot of people say that it's because expats don't speak Dutch, and I'm not entirely sure if it's totally true, because I had periods where my Dutch was quite solid and I still was not particularly welcome, like it did not change much. And I have friends who speak Dutch fluently, like the same way I speak English right now. And from what they're telling me, it also hasn't changed much for them. They still don't feel particularly welcome. It sometimes feels like expats look at locals being like, hey, please accept me, and locals look at expats. Well, it's hard to say what they think, but we can judge what they say or their actions. I often receive comments saying that, hey, you took my job, you took my housing, I've never invited you here. If you don't like something, go home, immigrant. So of course I'm a content creator who is putting myself out on the internet, and there are lots of different people on the internet, and in the internet people also tend to be a bit braver than in real life. But I had to ask myself if it's a genuine depiction of what's inside their heads. So with my friends, we went out and asked Dutchies about what they think about expats. And interestingly, the people who were willing to talk to us were the friendliest Dutchies on earth. They were super welcome, super friendly, super hospitable, amazing, super sweet people. But what got left behind the camera are the Dutch who were just indifferent, or at least that was our perception. When we asked them what they think about expats, we were all under the impression that they don't really think about us at all. They were kind of so surprised by our question. It felt like we were asking them what do they think about the Roman Empire. You know, something that is so far from them that they can't be bothered. It's subjective, but that was the impression of all the people that were participating in this. And if you want to see the full video and form your own opinion about whether expats are welcome or not welcomed in the Netherlands, I will leave the link somewhere here so you can watch it. Number 7, the weather. Now it's summer in the Netherlands, and this is one of the best days, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's super windy. I'm trying to cover the microphone with all my might, so I hope that you can hear me. A lot of people think that the weather in the Netherlands generally sucks, unless you're from Ireland. It's a joke. I just recently met a wonderful couple from Ireland, and I was like, yeah, the weather, blah blah blah, but they're like, are you kidding me? The weather in the Netherlands is actually nice. If you think that it's bad, you've never been to Ireland. And it's actually true, I've never been to Ireland. My personal biggest issue with the weather is when it's gloomy and dark, I get really depressed. And that's related to vitamin D deficiencies that can really affect our mental health. And I feel it, I really feel it from approximately October until March. I get very tired and unproductive. So for the past 2 years, I found a solution and I went to Southeast Asia to spend winter month there. And that's what some people choose to do as well. They either put up with the Dutch weather, decide to have a more hybrid lifestyle, or pack up and leave. Number 8, homesickness. At first, moving abroad is fun. It's full of hopes, full of adventures, full of explorations. People who move, they typically want to prove to themselves that they can make it. They can live alone. They can build their life from scratch. They can find friends, that they are capable. But then at some point, it comes a moment when they've already proved to themselves everything they wanted. Or they realize that it's just not for them, or they bit too big of a piece that they can't chew, and they start missing home. They miss being there during important moments like birthdays or weddings. They miss the feeling of belonging, maybe even some sort of comfort, because some things you just intuitively understand, and in a foreign country you need to figure pretty much everything out. So they might also start getting this feeling of like, not everything has to be so hard. I also hear from people that they say that their parents are getting older and it reminds them of what's really important. Number 9, taxes. Whether you're employed or self-employed, you give a big portion of your income to the state. Some people are in alignment with that. They say, look at the roads, look at the infrastructure, the healthcare system. So they feel like it's a fair exchange. Other people think that it's a bit too much. I follow one influencer. She comes to mind when I talk about taxes, because all this time I followed her. she was ecstatic about quality of life in the Netherlands, and she was like, yes, I pay high taxes, but I see where my taxes are going. By the way, she's self-employed, so it was the first year where she got like some sort of report, how much she paid, how much she earned, and she was like, wow, I knew that I pay high taxes, but I did not expect that my taxes is as high. And during this year, she had to also combat some health issues, and according to her, she did not get the help that she was hoping to get. And now when she saw at the end of the fiscal year how much she had to give to the government, she was like, it's just that the price value ratio is completely off. Well, it's just one example, but I noticed that a lot of people seem to start feeling this way, and it influences their decision whether they want to stay here in the Netherlands long term. Number 10. Fake openness. The Dutch are being portrayed as super open, tolerant, and accepting. And that's true to some degree, but there is another side of it that many people are experiencing, and it makes them doubt about whether the Netherlands is the country where they see themselves settling down in. Tolerance and acceptance to me means that if your views on something are different from another person's views, you are still willing to listen to them without imposing your own opinion and without telling them that they're wrong. In the Netherlands, I've noticed that most of the people have a unified view on certain topics like politics, religion, society. And if your view is different from that unified view, they are struggling to accept it. They often look down at you like your view is inferior to them and that you will catch up with them in a few years. To be more specific, when it comes to dating, a lot of Dutch have modern views. And if your views are rather traditional, they don't treat your views as equal to them. They don't think that it's another good or like solid alternative. They often look down upon it. So which one hits hardest for you? Let us know in the comments below, I'm really curious. And if you want to explore more and understand whether it's the Netherlands or maybe there is something deeper going on that you need to figure out first before you choose the country that you're gonna settle down in long term, because maybe it's the Netherlands or maybe it has nothing to do with the country and then you move to the next country and you will face the same issues. If this sounds familiar or interesting, then please check out the link in the video description below and join our community. For now, thank you so much for watching this video until the end. I'll see you either in my community or in the next video that I will link somewhere here. Alright, bye for now.